Hi, and welcome to Managing My Money with Rosa. Today, we're going to talk about 4 different strategies you can use to become debt free. So, I don't know about you, but I am in debt. And according to Google, I'm not the only one. 8 out of 10 families are in debt with an average of $38,000, and that doesn't even include a mortgage on a house. Real life moment here. As of this video, not including my mortgage, I am currently $72,000 in debt. I know, a little over the national average, but before you get on to me too much, this debt really only consists of 3 things. I have a student loan, an RV, and a new car payment. So stick around for some real solutions on how you could get out of debt. I have 4 different strategies that we're going to talk about. We're going to look at the debt snowball, debt avalanche, debt consolidation, and debt management. Please feel free to jump around in the video, rewatch any parts of interest to you, and if you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask. However, that leads into, I want you to know that I am not a financial consultant. All the information here that I'm giving you today is based off of my opinions and research. I searched a handful of different websites, a couple of books, and all of this comes from there. So if any of these ideas sound of interest to you, I suggest you take a moment, do your own research to make sure that it aligns with your personal financial strategy. If you have any ultimate questions that are really financially about you personally, I strongly suggest you get with a certified financial counselor or consultant. And any decisions you make based off of what you hear today is of your own free will. So let's get into this. The first strategy we're going to talk about today is called the debt snowball method. Most people are most familiar with this strategy. Actually, Dave Ramsey supports this as part of his 7 baby steps to financial freedom. This is the suggestion he says to get all of your debt taken care of and knocked out. Now, let's talk about exactly what is debt snowball. When we think of making a snowball, I live in Florida, so I haven't made too many of them. But when I have, it starts out really small and you gather up some snow and you compact it and it starts really, really small. And then to make a bigger one, you just grab more snow and make it bigger and you pack it all in. And the same thing happens until finally you can get it big enough where you can just roll it through the yard. And now you can create a snowman out of that snowball. Well, debt snowball is very similar. We're going to start with small payments. And over time, that payment is going to grow into a really large payment. So there are 3 basic steps when it comes to learning about the debt snowball. The first step is to list all of your debt from smallest to largest. And I really do mean all of your debt. If you don't know how many debts you have and you're just paying bills every month, I strongly suggest that you sit down and take a little bit of time and look at everything. Make sure you don't leave anything off. Step 2, make all of your minimum payments on everything you owe. However, you're going to work on paying off that smallest debt first, kind of like the snowball, where you pick up a little bit and you put it in your hands and you start to compact it. So you're going to pay off that smallest debt first. If you can find any extra money in your budget, use it to pay off that smallest debt first. The more you can pay on it, the faster it'll disappear. Next, the final step is now that you've paid off that smallest debt, now we're going to take that payment and roll it into the next smallest debt. So you're not going to get all excited and celebrate because now you have an extra $50, $100, $25, whatever it is. Instead, you're going to keep spending it, but now it's going to go into your next debt so that payment gets a little bit chunkier. So I started with just a little small snowball in my hand. I grabbed a little bit more snow, I grabbed another payment, added it together, and now it's a bigger snowball. And you're going to continue this process over and over again until all of your debts are paid off. So let's look at what this looks like in real life. So first, we're going to pretend like we have a credit card and we owe $4,300, a minimum payment of $100. Next, we owe $8,500. We have furniture and we owe $8,500. We have a minimum payment of $60. And then we have a car in which we still owe 11,500 on with a minimum payment of $300. And finally, we have a second car in which we still owe 19 on and we have a minimum payment of 405. So I'm going to continue to make minimum monthly payments on everything. Now let's go look at that credit card real quick. If I only make $100 minimum payment, only like 75 of that 50 of that is going to pay off the credit card. The rest of it is interest. So if I'm going to pay that off in any amount of time that's soon, because honestly, if I do nothing and just pay minimum payment, it's going to take me 7, 8, 9, 10 years to pay that credit card off. We don't want that. We want, at least I want my debt to go away. So if I can find extra money, I'm going to put it towards that credit card payment so that I can get rid of it as fast as I possibly can. Now, that may mean only $5 extra, make 105, but you know what? That's $5 more I'm not paying interest on. So once we get that first debt paid off, we're going to take that payment and roll it into the furniture payment. So what does that look like? Instead of making a $60 payment, I'm going to grab some more snow, pack it on, another payment, pack it on, and now I'm making a $160 payment on the furniture. When the furniture gets paid off, if I'm still making car payments, I will roll that $160 into that car payment. And now instead of making a $300 payment, now I'm going to make a $460 payment. And for the most part, that's pretty doable. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road and we find out how committed we really are. Once that debt is paid off, the way Debt Snowball works is now we're basically making a snowman and we need to roll that $460 into the last debt. There is some serious commitment at this point. We now need to make an $865 a month payment, which means you have to be committed to getting out of debt. But guys, what a relief once you are. So who exactly would the debt snowball method work the best for? If you're someone who likes to meet goals, needs to see progress toward them, and wants that instant gratification, okay, semi-instant gratification, debt snowball might be a strategy for you to take a look at. But when I say instant gratification know that this could take a little while to get that first one out of the way, especially if it's a couple $1,000s and it's a high interest rate. So just be aware. But once you get it going and you pay off that first debt and now you're paying extra on the second debt and extra on the third debt, guys, you will see it snowball and it is amazing. If you are not, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. My channel is all about my financial journey, my debt, my spending plans, savings challenges, cash envelopes, sinking funds. I do a little bit of investing with dividends. Sometimes I play bounces, and then some just general tips, budgeting information. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for taking a little bit more of your time and coming back and spending it with me. I cannot say thank you enough. Everybody, please take a second, smash that thumbs up button. I would really appreciate it. And guys, if you didn't have debt, I would love to know what you would do with all of your money if you didn't have debt. Personally, my house, my husband would get his wish, and that would be to be a house daddy, which meant he didn't have to go to work anymore. So let's look at the second method, debt avalanche. Now it is very, very, very similar to debt snowball. And sometimes they're used interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. Still, 3 steps to it. But instead of listing them from smallest amount owed to the largest amount owed, now we're going to list them in order from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. We're going to pay off that one with the largest interest rate first. Again, we're still going to continue making payments on everything that we owe everybody. We also, if I can find extra money, I'm going to put it towards that largest interest rate. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is do not take extra money and dabble a little here and a little there and a little here and a little there and a little here and a little there. Guys, we don't want to do that. We want to focus on one debt. Get it paid off. I know you think you're doing yourself a favor, but you're not. We want to see progress in getting something paid off. So everything needs to go into that one debt that you are working on. And then you roll the payment into the next debt that you owe. And it's just a continuous cycle, just like debt snowball. But debt avalanche, remember, is based off of interest rates. So we're going to still have the same four things. We've got a credit card basically with 23% interest, still that $100 payment. Now the car comes next. Why? Because it has a, excuse me, a 19% interest rate, still a $300 a month payment. Then we're going to put that next car because it is at a 15% interest rate with a minimum of $405. Last is going to be that furniture payment, and that's because it only has a 5% interest rate. Still the same payment as $60. So let's look at this. Again, we're going to focus on that credit card. Remember, guys, $100 payment, you're paying them 20 something percent interest. If you can't find extra money, this is going to take forever to pay off. So try really hard to find a little here and a little there, even if it's $5. It's $5 more that you don't owe the credit card company interest on. Do something. Once that credit card is paid off, we're going to roll that into the first car payment. So now instead of making a $300 payment, I'm going to make a $400 payment. This will begin to reduce how much you owe quicker. Then I'm going to take that 400, roll it into the next car payment. Guys, instead of making a 400 payment, now we're making an $800 payment. Do you have any idea how quickly this is going to disappear? It is amazing. And then the last thing we're going to do is roll that into the furniture payment and making an $865 a month payment. Again, this is going to take some serious commitment to you agreeing that yes, those payments need to roll into, because you're going to get really excited. I don't have to make a car payment anymore. Yay, $400 in my pocket, party. No, no, no. I need you to stay, well, you should stay focused and know that debt is what you want to get rid of. So who exactly would debt avalanche work best for? So similar to Snowball, debt avalanche might be for you if you like to meet goals, see progress toward them. Debt avalanche is definitely for you if you are interested in spending the least amount of money in the long run. Unlike debt snowball, this strategy helps you get rid of the largest interest rate first, and therefore you're going to pay less to the bank or whatever the creditor is. In the end, the key and the goal is to stick to the plan. In the beginning, just like that snowball, there's nothing fast about that debt avalanche method. You have to get that first one paid off. But once you do, you'll begin to see the snow rolling down the hill faster and faster and getting bigger and bigger. I don't know if you've ever seen an avalanche, but it starts as just a little trickle at the top. And then by the time it gets to the bottom, it's this huge wall of snow that's so much bigger than a snowball. And that's basically what that avalanche is. And you are getting rid of and not paying as much to the bank using debt avalanche. I like to use calculator.net and to help me determine how much I still owe and how long it's going to take me to get rid of all of my debt. And it uses the debt avalanche method because it wants you to pay the least amount of money possible. So now let's go look at debt consolidation. Personally, I think debt consolidation takes a little bit more self-control than using the debt snowball or the debt avalanche method to pay off your debt, because debt consolidation is about taking all of your payments and condensing them into one payment. And sometimes it gives you the illusion that you're not paying as much. So, oh, I have more spare money, but you have to be careful. So the first thing you need to do, well, personally, the first thing I believe you need to do is to determine the current average interest rate for all of the debt that you owe. And there are a number of websites out there that can help you do this because it's a little wild if you ask me. Once you know what that interest rate is, that average interest rate, you're going to do exactly what this says. It says consolidate. Well, consolidate means that you're going to put everything into one payment. So you're going to need to do some legwork and find a excuse me, and you're going to need to find a loan of some kind, whether it's a personal, a balance transfer on a credit card, or whatever it is, you're going to have to find it. When you find that, you're going to make sure your interest rate is below your combined interest rate. And that's how you're going to save money. Now, yes, there are going to be some that are a little higher than your current interest rate, and there are going to be some that are lower than your current interest rate, which is why you find that average. And as long as the interest rate of the loan you get is below your average, guys, you're saving money right there. Next, once you consolidate all your debt, you're going to need to commit to a couple of things. One of those is to stop using your credit cards if you use credit cards. Personally, I suggest you delete all your credit card information from any website you spend money on often. If it doesn't already pre-populate, I don't know about you, but I'm less likely to go to my wallet, pull out the credit card. It just takes too much time. Where if I know it's pre-populated in there, it's quick and easy. Click, 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 bought, done. So I suggest you go delete all of that information. Now, I said stop using your credit cards. I did not say cancel your credit cards. You need to be careful. Research shows that when you cancel credit cards, that it decreases your available credit and it can sometimes have a negative impact on your credit score because now you don't have as large of an available balance. So maybe you want to cut up your credit cards. Maybe you want to put them away in a secure location. Maybe you want to give them to a family member you can trust to say, hey, help me not spend any money by using my credit card, and cancel them a little bit over time, or just leave them out there with a balance on it. Sometimes credit card companies cancel when you haven't used them in quite a time, but you never know. But stop using credit cards. You also need to commit to acquiring no new debt. If we're trying to get out of debt, then why are you going to acquire more new debt? And finally, I need you to make sure you make payments on time. If at all possible, try to pay more than the minimum monthly, again, so you can pay it down a little bit faster. So who would benefit from debt consolidation? Well, it's going to require you to do some legwork. So if you're willing to do that legwork, you'll need to, this might be for you, because remember, you're going to have to determine your average interest rate and then go find the best loan possible for your situation. If you are looking for fewer payments and due dates, debt consolidation might be for you because it takes a whole bunch of all of those things and turns it into one payment every month. But you're going to have to commit to not taking on any more debt. Just because you now have less payments and often a lower payment doesn't mean you have tons of spare money to spend. So you have to be careful. Debt consolidation freaks me out a little bit because at least before I knew I had a whole bunch of debt. And now all of a sudden I'm making one payment and it makes me feel a little bit more secure that I can go spend some money that I don't already have. Finally, we're going to talk about a debt management plan. Personally, I would only resort to this if you cannot make all of your payments on time and in full. So what exactly is a debt management plan and how does it work? Simply put, a debt management plan is where you reach out to a nonprofit credit counseling agency and get professional help. There's usually a fee to get this help, but honestly, guys, I believe the upfront cost is worth it if they can help you. But be careful when finding a counseling agency. There are a lot of for-profit agencies out there who are waiting to prey on those who are financially struggling. Make sure you ask them upfront if they are a non-profit counseling agency. The beauty of working with a debt management agency is that they often, because they work with creditors on a daily basis, they often have the ability to negotiate both lower payments and lower interest rates on your behalf. They have access to special deals that you wouldn't, because if the company knows you're dealing with a debt management company, you're probably in trouble. So they give extra deals and extra breaks to these agencies. Sometimes they have also been able to secure debt forgiveness for some. However, know that this is not always the case, and your situation may not make you eligible for such forgiveness, but they have been able to do it for some people. So when should you consider using a debt management plan? If you're struggling to make all of your monthly payments, might be a good idea. If you are overwhelmed by the amount of debt you are in and think you might want to talk to a professional, maybe this is who you need to do. Remember, you need to consult a nonprofit agency. If you have tried the other three strategies and they have not worked for you because you don't see any progress happening on paying down your debt, maybe you want to talk to a debt management plan. And before you file for bankruptcy, they often make you check out a debt management plan first. This is something that they want to make sure you've tried everything before you file for bankruptcy. So check into it. But again, making sure that you talk to a nonprofit agency. So, what strategy is right for you? Honestly, guys, only you can determine that. Each strategy has pros and cons, and only you can decide which one matches your financial goals and situation. You'll need to do your research and find a strategy that works for you. Personally, I am using the debt avalanche method. So remember, I said I had three things that I owe on. And the first one we're working on paying off is the RV. Next, we're going to pay off my car. And then finally, we're going to pay off my student loan. And the goal is to have everything paid off in 5 years. Reality, we still have another 7 years on the RV. My car still has another basically 6 years because I just got it. And my student loan, if I only make minimum payments on my student loan, I'm going to have that forever. No, like what, like 15, 20 years still left on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the goal is to get everything paid off in 5 years. And we're going to do that using the debt avalanche method and extra payments. Again, remembering I'm not dabbling my money all over the place. I'm focusing on one thing. And right now, that's the RV because it has the highest interest rate. So make sure you look at each of these and see which one would work best for you. And final thoughts before we are done here. First, if you have credit card debt, call your credit card company. See if they have any promotions going on to reduce your interest rate. Guys, even 6 months of a lower interest rate will keep a little bit more of your hard earned money out of their hands and in your pockets. If you have any other debt that the interest rate can be negotiated, I suggest you give them a call and give it a try. Next, budget. I strongly suggest that you make a budget or a spending plan for all of your money. Include a detailed plan on how you plan on getting out of debt. Then post it somewhere in your house so you can be reminded of your goal to be debt free. I currently have a list of Dave Ramsey's 7 steps, baby steps to financial freedom. And as I get them done, I check them off. So I've got the first one done. Check. Now I'm working on step 2, and that is getting rid of all of my debt. And I look at it every time I go get anything that deals with my budget so that I can see it and go, oh, yeah, that's right. We're trying to pay things off. Third, I strongly believe that you should pay more than the minimum balance on the debt you're focusing on to get rid of it first. Like I said, we're paying on the RV, and really, it should only be about $130 coming off of it every month. There are months, for certain, I pay an extra $20 every month on it. And recently, I've put down much, much, much larger chunks on it to help knock it down. I made $1,000 payment once because I had some spare money, and I just started stashing it and putting it all in there. I'm about to go make a $600 payment on it instead of my $200 payment. So finding that extra money will help it disappear. We are currently 6 months. No, we are almost a year ahead of paying it off than if I hadn't made any extra payments. That is joyous to me. And fourth, avoid any additional debt. Stop incurring it. Stop using your credit cards. Don't buy anything you can't pay for in cash. And for a brief time, this is my favorite, for a brief time, behave like you are broke. Once you pay things off and have more cash on hand, begin enjoying the little things again. So that's the hardest one of all. Now, this avoid additional debt. I said at the beginning of this that I had 3 things, and one of them was a car that we just recently got. Well, we are not financially in a situation to pay cash for it. We are not. That is debt I had to incur because my car just went kaput. So we had to replace it with something. We replaced it. Now I have that additional debt. But again, it is in the mix of how am I going to get everything paid down faster? I avoid using a credit card to pay for anything I know I don't have cash for. I don't intend, my husband's truck just got paid off. He's stuck with that for a while until we can get my car paid off. So just avoid the debt. Behave like you are broke. You want to go on vacation? Great. Save up a little bit of money for it. Don't put it on your credit card and incur more debt. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time today and joining me on Managing My Money with Rosa and learning about 4 different strategies you can use to help you get out of debt. I hope you have a great day. Bye.